Why I turned vegan. Why was it that I made the choice to cut out meat entirely out of my diet? Well, I was thinking about making a video about this a while ago, but I never got around to it until I saw a video on my Facebook wall about a guy who used to do bodybuilding. Like myself, he used to be heavy into the weightlifting, and he completely was against going vegan, cutting out meat, for many of reasons. But I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't quite finish the entire video. So what I've chosen to do today is record my reaction to what he was saying, and you guys can hear it as well as I'm watching it. Maybe I'll probably put it up on the screen somewhere in the corners. And yeah, this is the mindset of somebody who is completely against veganism. Not everybody, but just by the looks of it, the majority. I didn't even know people out there hated vegans this much until I saw his video. I didn't watch all of it, like I said, but I'm going to continue to watch the rest, and yeah. Okay, so let's watch this video.
What's going on, guys? Jon Venus here. A lot of you guys have been asking about this topic, and I finally decided to make a video about this. It wasn't an easy video to make, it wasn't an easy video to figure out how to talk about this. The reason I'm making this video is because, you know, I get everyone who, you know, talks down to veganism, to vegans, because I was the same way. I fucking hated the shit out of veganism and vegans and the whole idea behind the diet. So let me start. About 2 years ago, when I first heard about veganism, my brother just decided to turn vegan, go plant-based. And man, was I pissed off, you know? We've always been, you know, eating barbecues, and his favorite food was, you know, rump steak and Brazilian barbecues and all that stuff. And, you know, him telling me that he was going plant-based, you know, was pretty much the worst thing for me that he could tell me. I mean, I would prefer to tell him that he, you know, started shooting up heroin or something. It was that bad. You know, I hated the fact that, you know, he was turning into this weird guy who, you know, was about saving the animals, being healthy, and fuck, I was giving him so much shit. I was criticizing him, hating on him, making fun of him in front of other people, and, you know, just talking bad about him to other family members, you know, saying how disappointed I was, how disgusting this whole thing is, what a retard for doing this shit. What the fuck is he doing, trying to tell me that, you know, I'm doing the wrong thing by eating animals? What the fuck? Animals were put here for a reason, right? You have to eat them. I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a fitness guy, I'm gonna eat meat, I don't give a shit what you say, and it's the way it will always be, so get the fuck out of here. So that was my opinion for a very long time. You know, I fucking despise the whole idea, fucking despise vegans, everyone, and the fact that he became a vegan didn't make it easier for me to understand it. It didn't make it easy at all. I fucking hate it even more because I didn't even know what the fuck it was before, and now that he's doing it, you know, there was a disappointment in my family. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But after 6 months or so, you know, he was trying to explain as well as he could, you know, with an open mind, and trying to explain the health benefits of it, which was the reason why he started in the first place. And he showed me research, documentaries, and I've always had an open mind, but for some reason for this shit, you know, I was really closed and narrow-minded for only this thing, because people don't really tackle, you know, things well when it's that personal to you, and the whole world does the same thing, everyone does the same thing, so why is it bad? So after showing me the health benefits and stuff like that, I was like, okay, fine, you know, meat can be bad for you, especially processed meat, it could cause cancer, blah blah blah, but, you know, I don't really care about health. Yeah, I want to be healthy, but I don't want to be like an extremist. For me, he was like a religion extremist that goes suicide bombing and stuff like that. But after a while, you know, after a year, I did my own research, and I was just getting more and more interested in it. You know, okay, maybe I'll just try to cut down the meat from my diet a little bit, just to see if I can still build the same amount of muscle and get the same benefits. So for about a year, I cut out a lot of meat. I wasn't eating much. I mean, I was eating in restaurants and Subway, a lot in Subway, as you guys old followers know. But apart from that, not much meat at all compared to other bodybuilders. So I quickly learned that it doesn't really matter, you know, protein is overrated, and you don't really need as much protein as people tell you. So as I was eating less and less meat, I was starting to research other side of things. The ethical side, which I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about animals. You know, I love my dog, and I love horses. I'll pet horses when I see them and stuff, but, you know, if you gave me a horse sausage, I would still eat it. So there was a disconnection there. But anyways, I started watching videos and getting informed how the animals were treated, and fuck man, that shit messed with my head like a lot. And you know, it's still kind of, it's not traumatizing, but it was really shocking to me. The way, you know, the milk industry treats their animals, you know, taking the calves away from their mom. You know, it's a business. People want to increase the profit, so that's just the way that has to be done. And it's
still going.
Sad. And the way they kill the animals really shocked me. And the way they treated them in the barns, you know, no one's ever there to look, no one's there to take care of them. So the workers can pretty much play around and do whatever the fuck they want. I was convinced that, you know, it's not right. Why is it right? Just because everyone else does it and it's always been that way. It doesn't mean that slavery was right just because they've been doing it for thousands of years in Egypt and stuff like that, you know. And it takes an open mind to, you know, make the change and realize that stuff. That's why almost no one does it. So for me that was pretty bad, you know, the ethics and stuff like that, poor animals, whatever. But then I realized the environmental and the impact it has on the world and humans in general. The amount of water needed for a single little burger. 660 gallons for one little burger. Seriously guys, and there's so many thirsty people in the world. Seriously, what the fuck are we doing giving all the fresh water to animals when we can be saving our own race instead of producing hamburgers for McDonald's for the richer Western civilizations? That really messed with my head. And not only that, but the amount of food, using the US as an example, and it's the same around the whole world. It's insane how much food it goes to meat production. And the amount of food and land and everything that is used to make a little piece of meat, it's insane guys. And when I realized there was enough food to feed 12 to 15 billion people on a plant-based diet, you know, instead of giving all the corn to the animals, we give the corn to humans, we could save all the starving children in Africa. Who the fuck would be against that, you know, saving your own race? So why the fuck am I against saving starving children in Africa and starving people all around the world just because I want a hamburger? You know, that doesn't make sense. Why is anyone, you know, agreeing to this? What the fuck is going on here? So the world is pretty fucked up guys. But not only that, as you guys know, I'm Brazilian. When I learned that the whole rainforest is being cut down, and I already knew about this, but I didn't know why. I thought it was just, you know, for toilet paper or something, you know. 80-something% was used for raising cattle, killing off the wildlife and the rainforest, which is pretty much the lungs of the world. You know, it's not slowing down, it's just increasing because the demand of meat is increasing. I think it'll piss everyone off if they actually knew what was going on. But not only that, the pollution that it's causing the world. You know, people say, oh, it's all about, you know, transportation, airplanes, the traffic, you know, gasoline. You know, that's pretty bad. But turns out that the meat industry is responsible for, you know, 18%, or some studies even show 51% of the total greenhouse emissions. And the unfiltered waste, all these cows shitting all over the place, you know, where do you think all that shit goes? So that was a really eye-opening moment for me, and it made me just reconsider everything that I believed in. I still understand people that want to ignore it, they're too lazy to do anything about it. But, you know, that's not a good enough reason for me. You know, I'm all about being the best version of myself. And I wouldn't be able to live with myself knowing the truth and not doing anything about it. And on top of that, at the same time, finding out that one of the strongest men were vegan and all that stuff, and just plenty of vegan bodybuilder examples, you know, I was like, fuck it man, this is what I want to do. I want to be a fitness athlete, and I know now that I can achieve the same results on this diet. And with all the environmental and ethical reasons, there was no excuse. And the point of making this video guys is because, you know, I came from a place of hatred towards this topic, towards veganism, towards plant-based diets. I understand where people are coming from. You know, I was the same way. I was the exact same way as every troll commenting on my videos right now, talking down to me and talking about how shitty and stupid I am. I was the same guy. I would think the same thing of myself a year ago. So I understand where it's coming from, but it's all about perspective. You gotta open your mind, you gotta search for the truth. If you only trust the corporations who are corrupt as fuck, influencing studies, influencing our society, hiding the truth away from us, you know, you'll never find out the truth. You gotta do your own research, because money talks, corruption will always be there. And we have to do our own work to find out the truth. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I want to do everything I can to change the world and make the world a better and fair place. I want all humans to, you know, be able to survive and not starve to death. I want animals not to suffer and be enslaved. So for you guys who are skeptical, just know that I was the same way. I feel you, I know where you're coming from. Just try to put the anger down for a second, stop judging, and just try to do your own research, and you'll be amazed what you'll find. But if you don't want to do it and you want to live in denial, that's fine as well. That's up to you, that's your choice. Who just say that they want to do it because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about anything. That's fine, you know, that's your choice. If you don't give a shit about the world and other humans and animals and shit like that, that's up to you. So do whatever you want. Just don't make excuses that meat production and all that stuff is good for the world and for the health and animals. That argument is something that you'll never win. I'm not trying to force anything on you guys. I'm just trying to inform and give you guys some perspective. Do your own research. 3 films I recommend if you're interested in this. One, for health reasons, is fork over knives. And for you guys who don't really care as much about health like me, there's an environmental side of things called Cowspiracy, and then there's an ethical one called the Earthlings. You can find them online, so make sure to watch it if you're searching for the truth. And don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps the channel a bunch. Spread the message, guys. This is really important to me. This is what I'm doing this for. I want to help as many people as I can, you know, open their mind and see what's possible, see that it's possible to build a lot of muscle and be a bodybuilder, a fitness model, or a fitness athlete, and still do your best to make the world a better place. So share this with your friends, guys. It's really important. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.
Yeah. Okay, now I can relate to a degree with his brother. The reason why I became vegan was because of health concerns, health issues. I got to the point where I was comfortably honest with myself that even noticing I had all this muscle when I was doing bodybuilding also, that I wasn't quite operating at 100%. I would get incredibly fatigued and tired throughout work. I had an incredibly huge back problem, which was due to a lifting injury also in work, which I wanted to heal and fix. And if that injury didn't happen, I wouldn't have turned vegan, to be honest with you. You know, because I started looking up ways to heal the body faster. And they were talking about how meat causes inflammation, and so does gluten and stuff like this. You know, if you don't believe me, check it out. Okay, there's tons of studies done on this stuff. You really need to become educated when it comes to knowing your stuff. Just yesterday, a group of my little brother's friends were in the living room. And they were also in the kitchen and the back garden and in the side of the house. Anyway, I was in the kitchen eating my avocado salad, and they were trying to judge, and they already had these preconceived notions that I was on the scientific side of the dieting movement kind of thing, right? As if I'm so scientific that I don't want to go. It got pretty, religion got involved. But anyway, they already had these preconceived notions that I was against meat. That because I was on vegan diet, that I was completely against meat, which was completely false. I wasn't against eating meat. I just want to be optimally perfect in my own image, my own way of expression, my own physical activity, movement. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be able to think fast and do things quickly, okay? And it became apparent to me that my water supply that I was drinking was making me clouded, fog-headed. I couldn't think properly. The things I was eating was making me feel heavy and tired, stopping me from being able to do things throughout the day. I'd eat heavy meals straight away, like 3 hours after I've just woken up, or maybe straight away in the morning. That would make me feel tired and heavy. And I just said to myself, do you know what? I don't want to be tired and heavy all the time. I don't want to constantly be eating stuff because what I'm eating isn't satisfying me. You know that feeling when you eat something, you feel full, but you still feel hungry, so you start eating more food? It's because you're eating dead food, meaning the nutrients in the food isn't there. You know, you're just eating waste. You're putting food in one face whole and coming out the other whole. And it's a problem. Underlying issue, it's a problem. And I was nutritionally deficient. I didn't have the nutrients in order to sustain myself. And I don't like feeling at a disadvantage when it comes to me being addicted to foods because of the effect they have on my taste buds. And when it comes to me needing or relying on food because I haven't got the knowledge to supplement my body accurately to the point where I'm not as hungry. You know, I don't like that feeling. I don't like feeling underwhelmed, underachieved. Obviously, if you can do something better, why would you settle for something less? That was my mentality towards my life, and other people out there don't have to have this mentality. But with me, this is why I cut out meat. And I started by using logic, common sense. This is what I said to the guys in my kitchen. If you had just plain chicken coming out of the oven, with no spices, no breads, there's not KFC, there's no herbs, no salt added to it, there's no oil added to it, there's no juices, it's bone dry and it's just being cooked, okay, overcooked. Not burnt, but just cooked in the oven. it doesn't taste as good. You'll have the texture, which you may like. Yeah, texture is okay to like texture, but the taste is kind of bland. This is what I figured out. And my brother figured out the same thing. My twin brother, he still eats meat. Same thing he figured out also. So I started showing him things to put on there to make taste better, okay? Taste is the thing that everyone's thinking about when they talk about meat. And I decided to take the taste off of the meat and put it on rice. So if we use Caribbean, because my black side of the family loves their Caribbean chicken and stuff like this, what if I took all the spices and herbs they put on that and put it on rice instead? To my amazement, I was satisfied with the rice in the same way as I would normally be okay with the chicken. You know, it felt like if I had a craving for chicken and I had the rice with the flavorings on top, which I normally put on the chicken, I was fine with that. And that is what stopped me from eating meat. And then I started playing around with it. Then I found out that rice wasn't so good. And then I started changing the rice with something else. Okay, substituting the taste and the flavors. Then I realized it was the texture I enjoyed. Not even the taste of the actual meat. I liked the taste that were put on the meat and the texture. So I started recreating vegan foods with the texture. That's when I got into the raw dehydrated sausages, okay, stuff like that. And I was just creating the texture of the mincemeat, stuff like this, using certain mushrooms, okay. And it really did open my awareness to new ways of eating and why it was that I was actually addicted, or why it was that I actually liked the foods in the first place. I studied the crap out of myself. Why it was I liked certain foods, and I was honest with myself. I wasn't in denial. I wanted to be optimally efficient. And you can't physically be efficient in stuff like this if your mind is set in its stubborn ways of thinking, I have to eat meat, especially if you're scared of protein. I thought to myself, okay, I don't know what protein is. What is protein? Okay, everyone's saying I need it. What is it actually about? 27 amino acids, which create a complete protein block. These 27 amino acids you can find in certain raw foods. When you heat up the amino acids, the structure of the amino acid changes. And when the amino acid changes structure, they cannot interlink to create the protein block, which means your body cannot recognize the amino acid protein structure because it's void. It's been destroyed, it's broken up. When you heat the foods over a certain temperature, this effect it has on the amino acids, your body doesn't recognize it. So you're eating all this meat for the protein, but your body can't recognize it. It then just recognizes it as dead food, flushes it out, or just takes its time to it takes up to 3 days. I think it's 97 hours for your body to digest food. That's a long time. Most people say you're supposed to have a cycle of about 12 hours, and then I've heard it's 7 hours. Mine is roughly 7 to 8 or 9 hours, depending on what I'm eating, which is fine. You'll find that if it goes 97 hours, if it goes over 7 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, it will sit in your stomach, putrefy and rot, and that is when your farts stink. You see, there's all these common sense logical reasons as to why your bowels need to be moving a certain way, the nutritional side of things, but people's mindsets, like the guy that I showed you on the video, are incredibly stubborn and narrow-minded. If you want to be healthily nutritious, okay, if you want to be operating at 100%, and you've only been living your life operating at like 20% or maybe even less than that, you need to realize something. You could be doing something better to make yourself feel better. And that is what I did. That was my approach. So I started off with dissecting my taste buds, what it was I like to eat, and getting the optimal nutrition. Okay, now I liked bodybuilding, but my back hurt. So then I started going into raw foods, water fasting to heal the body, what inflamed my body. Okay, I got into yoga and I dropped the weights. I left the weights to the side for a while. I got into heavy in yoga, properly in yoga, okay? And when I mean properly, I mean putting your body in a certain position where it feels uncomfortable and then relaxing till the muscle stretches on its own. I do not mean stretch until you feel it stretching, then pull harder because you think that you're doing yoga, you think that you're stretching. No, you'll cause damage doing it that way, okay? So after about 2 years of water fasting, changing my diet and creating the same textures that I used to enjoy but making the taste even better, now my body feels better because it enjoys the food on a body's level, not the taste, but the body enjoys it. You know, when you eat a grape and you eat the grape and your body feels good, it feels nutritious, it feels like it's got power, you know, it feels like it's hydrated. It knows when you've put something good inside it. When you put something dead inside it, you feel heavy, okay? You can make these distinctions pretty easy. My body feels really good when I eat the foods that I've now put together based upon my knowledge. You need to be very well knowledgeable with this kind of subject, this kind of nutritional based kind of thing. What helped me is that I'd studied nutrition and sport in school, got my GCSEs out of that. Then I went into nutrition in sport in college and I got my diplomas in that. Then I decided to go into it after college also, which is why I've refined into such detailed things, you know. So I'm not just some rookie, some stranger who wants to change his diet. I have the qualifications to be a nutritionist, okay? And I'm telling you, from a nutritionist standpoint, vegan, for me, is good, okay? And there's so many reasons why you shouldn't be eating other dead food for logical reasons, not ego-based, prideful, I'm a man, I must eat meat, need protein kind of reasons, okay? You don't start losing your hair when you stop eating protein. You don't stop losing your beard. You know, you don't get smaller if you keep working out. And you know, an avocado has more protein than a steak. I'm pretty sure your body's going to recognize a raw avocado. It's stuff like this that you need to be looking into, okay? So, I did that. And I stripped my body down, started water fasting, and I got very flexible, very strong on my new diet. Okay, I started detoxing symptoms. I felt ill whilst I was detoxing because I was getting all the crap out. Okay, so honestly, when you go vegan and you do stuff like this and juicing, you're going to feel like crap for a while because you're spitting out all the crap that you put in. It's easy to put the crap in, but coming out, it's a whole nother story. Okay, so I started doing that, and now what I'm going through at the moment is I'm building back up, but I don't want to get muscly. I don't want to get like huge. I've gotten muscly already, but I don't want to get massive as I used to be. I just want to get strong enough and flexible enough to find the balance between strength and flexibility so that my body's operating at an incredibly efficient rate for me to live my life through this vehicle. Okay, so that's why I turned vegan. Funny thing, when I stopped eating meat, I wasn't at the point where I was thinking, okay, meat's bad. Like, I wasn't one of those people who loved animals to the point where I used that to stop eating meat. I wasn't like that. This is before I stopped watching videos. And I started watching videos on how they were treated. I had no idea how animals were treated. And I wasn't the kind of guy who loved animals so much that I wanted to quit food. I was the kind of guy who did it purely for nutritional reasons. And the funny thing is when I stopped eating meat, my connection to animals increased. I started appreciating them a lot more as my clarity started to clear up as to why it was that animals were actually here in the first place. And then you started to appreciate them a bit more. Okay, that's what I started doing. I started to appreciate why they were here. And they're here to have their own separate experience. But they're not there to be cut open, butchered, and then shoved into our mouths. We don't eat meat raw. You can justify eating meat if you're the type of animal who's going to run after it, to be honest with you. And, like, wrestle them and crack their neck open and eat and drink their blood raw, then fine. You're a carnivore. But if you're having to cook and do all this stuff so that your body can tolerate it, and even then you're still developing dis-ease within the system to the point where you're developing certain types of ulcers and cancers and tumours and stuff like this, growths that just shouldn't be there due to cells clumping up together to protect its environment. Okay, all this stuff dealing with alkalinity and alkaline water, and there is tons of information online. Check it out. Don't just take my word for it. Check it out, okay? And then after my mind started clearing up, I can start thinking faster for myself. My body, now I reckon it's operating roughly around about, honestly, 89%. Why? I still need to clean up some stuff. Right now, oxygen isn't too good in my room. I saged it up, did some cleaning stuff, and I need to get some cleaner air into my system right now. You can really feel what you're deficient in when your body's running properly. Right now I'm deficient in air, oxygen, and water. So after this video, I'm going to go and get that stuff in, you know. I'm going to do some breathing exercises, start drinking some structured, remineralized water to help my body. So, like I said, being vegan, I love it. It's perfect type of way of living which makes me feel and behave and act accordingly, act structured, act more open, you know, minded. My mind's much clearer, I can think faster, process information quicker, meditation's easier, I can focus a lot easier. My body's way more sensitive to how it used to be when I used to eat crap, okay? I can tell what's good for my body now, what isn't. After a while of eating something bad for you for a certain period of time, your body becomes numb to its effects, meaning you could eat it and you won't feel it doing damage too much. You probably won't feel it at all, actually. You'll just be so focusing on the taste, so preoccupied on the taste that what it's doing to you, you won't recognize until you stop eating it for a while. Stop eating gluten and heavy foods for about a month, so your pastas and your rice and stuff like that, and then eat it straight afterwards. You'll know exactly what I mean. Okay, so that's why I stopped eating meat. That's why I became vegan. It strengthened my connection, or opened my awareness to why animals are actually here in the first place, and that they're not actually food, and that we don't actually need to rely on dead waste. It's dead. It's a dead product. It's a dead substance. Literally, it's void in nutrients. That's why it's dead. It's void. When you heat it up, it's void. Nothing. You can eat things such as crayons, and just because you can put it in one hole and it comes out the other doesn't mean that it's good for you. Okay, it'll just take a while for it to cause dis-ease within the body. And a lot of people, before I close down, it's all about the taste for them. All about the taste for them. What I have to say with that is, you probably should start finding a way, like I did, to make the foods that are healthy for you taste just as good, or if not better, than the foods that aren't so good for you. There's a lot of noise outside, and I'll speak to you guys pretty soon.